6, 5, 4, 3, 2. What?
They mad, they high. Thinking the badge is better than having some heart. Okay, look now, look how they running. They beating white people down just to show us what's coming. Or to show us we nothing. Or to show us we only welcome when singing or balling. Shut up and dribble. Word. High rock. Low.
Hey everybody, I'm Carrie Champion. Welcome to We the People. So today we are having a very candid conversation with athletes and artists who want to make sure that you use your voice to vote. Voting is your voice. So we have so many different issues that have happened in this country. It's really, truly unprecedented time. So I'm looking forward to these conversations. I think you'll be educated as well as entertained, but most importantly informed. We have morethanavote.org, whenweallvote.org, and fairfight.com. Those resources are imperative as we try to change our future. There's no way that we can talk about hip-hop, or even the fact that we want to talk about activism, black voter suppression, without bringing in this guy straight from Port Arthur, Texas. We are talking about Bun B. He is an activist, a scholar, and an all-around gentleman. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. Bun, I don't want to start heavy, but I guess I have to, because that's where we are in the world today. It's heavy as hell. And when you think about what needs to happen in this country in terms of change, what's the first thing that you think of?
Equality. That's pretty much the first thing that comes to mind, right? Black people need to be seen as equals in this world. You know, we had to fight just to be recognized as a full citizen in this country and not 3/5.
The world is now seeing what we've known for so long in the culture and in the community. The one way that we can fight is obviously voting. Talk to me about what voting means to you.
I hear people all the time talking about one vote doesn't matter and that voting doesn't make a difference. If that's true, why do they work so hard to suppress the black vote? Because they understand the power of the vote. And so it's time that black people collectively also understand the power of their vote. And not just on a national level, because a lot of times we only have this conversation every 4 years. People need to be very much involved in their local politics.
No.
They need to understand who their elected officials are, where they stand on issues that affect you. And you need to use your vote to either support the ones that care about you and your condition, or to elect people who do. A newer initiative that we're dealing with is educating felons, right? So in the state of Texas, if you're a felon, right, if you've been to jail or to prison, but you're no longer on probation on parole, you have the right to
Shush.
But all over the country. If you're in jail, by dogs and people of color being sprayed with hoses. That's what they were fighting for. Back then, they were just fighting for a chance to vote. People like these people died to help us be in a position to have the power that we have now, which is to be able to cast a vote and make a decision about the people that have control over our lives. So, I mean, if you in your own community need a reason to vote, look at a person like George Floyd. If the people in your city are not open to police reform, are not open to funding the police, are not open to issues concerning economic equality, judicial equality, and racial equality, right? If they're scared to say Black Lives Matter, you have the power to put people in those positions who do believe that Black Lives Matter, who do believe in racial equality, economic equality, judicial equality, right? Who see us as human beings. And if the people in your community don't feel that way, Vote them
Huh?
out. It's that simple.
Mimi brought
Just
a
vote
Jamba
them out.
juice.
We don't
Do
have
you
enough
want
time
it?
Yeah.
to sit around and hope that people change their mind.
Yeah, Bumby, you point out something so
Alright,
important.
hold on.
We have the
Julia.
and that is in our vote, and that is with our voice, and that's what we use our voice. I think a little
I'm
bit
watching
right
an
now,
event,
this
so
is
now
a particular moment.
I
It is a
want
movement,
Jamba juice, but
not
I'm
just
not
a
gonna have it now.
moment, it is a movement. Why, in your opinion, was it George Floyd's death? Why was that the chosen brutality for people to say, oh my God, white people are so oppressed in this country? And it is.
I think it's twofold here. There's so many different encounters between people of color and the police.
What's this?
What happened in the interaction. And so what happens is in a court of law, it tends to lean towards the police point of view. Right? In this case, we saw very clearly what happened. I think the other thing is due to the fact that everyone was at home.
Could you keep him in your room? Could you keep him in your room? No, you're keeping him in his room. Mom,
Can we just walk him out?
could Julia just...
No, we can't walk him out. Julie, you can go in my room. And don't make us leave him there. What?
Can we just leave him out there?
No.
If you think about it,
We cannot stick him out
the
there.
grand
Fine,
scheme
fine, Julia, you go, Julia, you go with Rexy.
You haven't picked up boots in forever. That's in your...
You go with Rexy now.
Take your shoes off, please, and go take him in the room.
There's so many
The
misconceptions
guy's coming.
about funding.
No, actually, I can't have him in the room because he's got to get in my bed.
Yeah. Why don't you keep him in your room?
My room's a mess.
No, it's not.
Come here.
Nothing could be further from the point. It means that in certain communities,
He's being annoying. He's whining you too much.
Now,
Rex,
what
no.
is that money being used for? Some of that money tends to be allocated towards riot shields, right? Pepper spray, right? That kind of thing. That's only used against the people that fund this budget, right? So why would the people want to supply the police with the means to oppress them? If the police are concerned about the situations in certain communities with a higher crime rate, well, higher crime rates tend to happen in communities where there's not employment opportunities, right? There's not a lot of social services, and people are going to do what they need to do to take care of themselves and their families. When the community has more opportunities for employment, more opportunities for upward mobility, then they tend to be less of a strain on the government. They tend to have a lower crime rate, and because of that, we'll have less need for the police in those communities.
You are passionate about so many different things in terms of making sure that we are holding our leaders accountable.
What are you doing?
About some of the
This is
other
I get to
projects.
stay in here with you guys.
Well,
Why?
right now, obviously, being a
Relax,
part of
we're
more
gonna
than
sleep
a
in your bed.
essential.
God
We're dealing with
damn
primaries
it,
in this
Mom.
country right now. And we just want to educate people. We want to inform people because people are
I'm
tired,
streaming,
they're hungry,
goddammit.
they're concerned, and they want information and they
I'll be
want
quiet.
action. And so we
You're
want to
not
make sure that
quiet
we
right
give
now.
them the right information. and
God,
lead them
why do
in
we
the
have to
right
keep
direction. And
Rexy
we
and
thank
you
the
in
people
here?
that do not look like us for
Nobody's
standing
even
with us right
watching
now,
you.
because it's very important that people
They watch me later on. This goes for years, you idiot.
And so I'm trying
Can't
to
you
use my voice
see
as
it?
a platform just to let people know that if they feel like I do, there's a number of places they can
I'm
go
streaming
to
this
enact
so
change in
people
their
could watch
community.
the
People need to
event.
know about how their city council runs. They need to know that they have the ability to speak when city council meets, to let them know that that's not the way that they feel their city needs to be run. Those are not the places that they feel the money in their community needs to be allocated.
But even a step further,
Get on
they
my
can
room now.
run for office in their local community.
Go
They
now.
can run for positions. And people act like they leave it up to somebody else. If you're upset, it's not hard to get on the school board.
Hold
It's
him.
not hard to be a part
Julia.
of the city council. It really isn't. And depending on how small your
Come
town is, you
hold
can be
him now.
The power
I'm
is with
seeing
the
your
people.
Rexy.
You
Come
need to just
hold
let
him
them
now.
And it's always, you know, we look at Trayvon Martin's mother, Rena Fulton, right? She felt that there was a system,
You serious?
system of oppression that led to her
Dude,
son's death.
Does Julia have to stay in my room?
She doesn't.
Could she leave?
Her own former
Yes, I
president,
thought she was
44,
helping you.
Barack Obama, right? Started
All she do is just stay on the tablet. I don't want her in my room.
became senator,
Julia,
right,
get
for
on my
another
room.
elected position
Mom said you have to go.
in the United States.
pleasure.
So don't think that you
glad
can
to get back to my
different.
room.
You know what I'm saying? You don't need
You're
a
welcome.
lot of money. You don't need a lot
Thank
of
you.
power. Your voice is enough to make it.
Amen. I feel like I need to go out and run for something. You gave me a rousing speech there, sir. I'd be remiss if I didn't.
Hey, Rex, move.
When I talk to my brothers, I have to ask you, how are you doing?
work
I'm
at
good.
the house.
I'm good. I have a
20 to
very strong
11, 20 to
relationship
11.
with God.
Yeah.
So prayer
So
definitely
that,
works for me.
quarter
I
to 11
have
makes sure
children
everyone's
and grandchildren
asleep.
who are watching me, who are encouraged by what I do, and they're proud of me right now. You know, and that's really what matters. You know, the change starts at home. You know, so as long as you have a support system that believes in what you're doing and supports you in what you're doing, you have everything you need to go out there and fight the good fight. And for those that don't, there's a community of people here to help you. So you can go to places like morethanavote.org. There are many different places that will encourage you, inform you, and they will put you with groups of people that feel like you, that are ready to take action. So no one has to go about this alone if they want to do it.
We're stronger together. People have been saying it, but that has much more meaning now that we are in our movement, not just this moment. Bumby, it has been an education, always a pleasure. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Keep fighting the good fight.
Keep up the good fight.
Yeah, la la.
So our next guest, I have to admit, I'm a fan, but there are so many different
Shush.
people that we could talk to, and I thought it was so imperative that we speak with her. You know her as Molly on the huge, successful show Insecure, HBO's Insecure. She also has a comedy special highlighting her Nigerian roots, and she's an amazing podcaster. Let's welcome in Yvonne Orji, everyone. You have such a beautiful way of making things funny, giving us our medicine with some candy, right? The humor and the healing. You bring all of that to your space. And right now, as you look across this country and how everyone is so it's not social injustice, it's the pandemic, it's depression, it's unemployment, the list goes on and on. How are you doing?
You know, I'm rediscovering self in a way that is hard but necessary, that will lead to ultimate joy. I know it sounds like a lot, but no, I think I personally think that God put all of us on a global timeout. Like we just, America hasn't done as good as other people when it comes to timeouts because everyone else is out playing at recess, and we're still in the principal's office hoping and wishing we can come out. But I think that if we settle into the timeout and really learn the lesson that we're supposed to learn from the season, I think we'll emerge better. We'll learn how to play well with others in more ways than one. And so personally for me, I'm taking this time to learn me in a new way. I feel like I'm being ushered into a new season, and I'm getting still, because sometimes the busy confounds the work that we're supposed to actually be doing. We're busy doing other stuff, but we got work that we need to do on the inside. And I'm leaning into it. I'm like, dang, I thought I was gonna be able to rest like everybody else. And God's like, nah, we got work to do.
You know what? And I think that's what everybody is saying about 2020. It's demanding that we be better. And you said it's a global timeout. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, it's like everyone sit down, be humble, to quote the great prophet Kendrick Lamar. But like, no, seriously, sit down and let's reevaluate some things. Let us unearth and shake up the things that we have been trying to hide within ourselves, within our nation. I think America is going through an unraveling right now, a much needed, a much necessary one. And I think all eyes on us, right? There is no, oh, I was on the subway for an hour, so I didn't miss that thing that happened. No, everybody was home. Everybody, was watching when George Floyd died, and everybody, no one could hide it. Everyone was watching when Amy Cooper called the cops. Like, this is a time where it's like, oh, we can't pretend it away. We can't excuse it away. No. It's a global timeout. Sit down, watch, and let's learn. And globally, it's like, hey, we were going business as usual, but it ain't usual no more. Like that's old. Anytime change occurs, it's very uncomfortable. So right now we're getting with we're getting we're getting comfortable with the uncomfortable.
The minorities, we've been comfortable because that to me explains just the existence for whatever we want to do, how we break into our careers, how we live our lives, how we find ourselves in one of the first. And that's a lonely road. When you look, you talk about this global timeout, everybody had to pay attention to people. Everyone had to pay attention to George Floyd. How is that helping us as a country during our global timeout?
I think, well, one, we're not minorities. Carrie, you already know it. It's like these labels that they put on us. It's like the same way of saying like black on black violence. Also, there's no white on white violence. It's branding,
Yeah,
right?
right.
It's all branding.
You're right. You're
It's
right.
like white people kill white people every single day. So no, there is no black on black violence. And if you say black on black violence, well then let's brand white on white violence. Like I watch Investigation Discovery. Ain't too many of us features. So, I just even like, but to answer your question, what does that do? I think what everyone expected is what has happened in the past when the world was still open, right? In that, okay, you had everyone, from Trayvon Martin to Castillo to Sandra Bland, you had all of these lives lost, and Black people made some noise. We rioted, we got out in the street, we started the Black Lives Matter movement, all of those things. And then white people kind of just like, oh, let's give them something. And then it's just like, is it over? It's like Oscars so black. Okay, good. We gave them some Oscars. Are we good now? Like, are we even? And now it's just like, oh no. This is not about like a bandit. It's like, yo, we might have to amputate the leg a little bit, but it's all right because by amputating the leg, we're gonna save the body. And so I think that's what's happening now. Like America is realizing, like, oh, Black people aren't just making a little bit of noise. Like the protests are still out, the conversations are still being had, the change is still being demanded. And I think they're seeing, oh, this is not going away. And no, it's not, because we need systematic change.
What a beautiful way to explore what is happening and describe our country. We might have to save the body. That's what's happening right now. That's beautiful, Yvonne. And to that end, I have to ask you this, because the way that we do that, we use our voice. And our voice right now in this world, in this country, is our vote. And everyone talks about voting and how important it is, but I feel like more than ever we understand that it's not just about voting every 4 years for the man in office. It's about your local elections. It's about the mayor. It is about the district attorney, the people who have the power to bring charges against police if police brutality is an issue in your community. If you care about your school district, you can run for the school board. I ask this of you, right? Your parents are from Nigeria. You are Nigerian. You talk about that very lovingly. What does voting mean for you?
I think voting is power. I remember, I became a naturalized citizen back in the 90s when, because I was still a minor, my mom naturalized, and so we were able to do it under her. And just even that power of like, we are citizens, and all the access that we have by being citizens, one of those accesses and those access to power being voting. It's a big deal. It's a big deal because not only do we have the opportunity to be in this country, but now we can be of the country. We can be of the systems. We can be of the rules. We can be of what it actually affords. But I think going back to your earlier comment about just the setup of systems, I think we are done a disservice either at schools or whatever it is, and I'm not putting teachers on blast. I think teachers do a phenomenal job, but for some reason we do not, and give them all the raises. I know too many parents who are like, this child of mine, I do love them, but hey, where can I drop them off? And I do think that there is a disservice done because, again, when we talk about voting, to your point, we talk about every 4 years. It's important to vote for the presidency. We don't realize, like, oh, snap, we actually can vote about, like, how much our libraries get. It's like small things like that, but they make a big difference.
When you think of voter suppression in this country, what does it look like?
It's the system. When we talk about voter suppression, we also talk about systematic racism, right? It's all the systems that set up. And we've normalized, okay, maybe your job will give you a half day, or maybe, you'll be able to get this luxury. It shouldn't be a luxury. It should be built into the system. It should be built into the fabric of how we vote. But maybe you'll be able to get this luxury in order to enable you to go vote. Think about everything disenfranchised, marginalized Black person has to endure today. So in a day, you need to get to work. If something happens to your car, if something happens to your child care, if something happens to, there's so many factors along the way that can send you into a tailspin as an American. And then you add on as a person of color. If you're just trying to get to vote, and you already have to go through all of these hurdles and hoops in your everyday life, imagine the one day when your voice really is supposed to matter the most in this country. But then you also see